children. My oldest 14, Brianna. Brooke is 11. My son LJ, who was the one that was most affected, he's 8 now. And he was my first child that was actually born here and raised up in the complex. Since about 6 months, he's been dealing with issues as far as hypersensitivity to the environment. He's dealt with eczema to the point where it was literally up his whole legs, like he looked like an alligator by the skin. He's always been complaining about stomach pain, headaches. So I just, kept taking him to the doctor. Then he started having issues with respiratory asthma. We were in and out the hospital quite frequently. But I just, I never attributed it to the lead because I didn't know.
This neighborhood was built in 72. 44 years ago. It was known to be built on a lead smeltering plant or several lead smeltering plants and other heavy metals. So they knew that there were going to be potential issues here. Why they've prioritized testing to the community 4 decades later is a real issue. What's normal in this region is about 200 parts per million. What triggers a cleanup based on EPA's regulations is 400 parts per million. And what we're seeing is as high as 91,000 parts per million at the 2-foot level. And they just haven't seen levels this high anywhere in the country.
I was downstate at the time in Indianapolis concerning some legislative matters and everything. And then I've got a call indicating that the residents here got letters from the mayor saying that they've got anywhere between 30 and 90 days to vacate the premises to leave because of the dangerousness of the lead and arsenic within the dirt area of the property, and they had to move.
EPA right now is designing a plan, by the way, of how to go in some of these homes and clean furniture, countertop, tell you if you need to throw these clothes out, this couch out, that kind of thing. This is really catastrophic.
We had no idea what we were living in. I've been out here since 2004, and I didn't have any idea that, the lead was as bad as it was in our units and in our homes as well. I had a surgery in 2005, which led to me being diagnosed with in 2006 with a rheumatoid because I wasn't getting any better after surgery.
And the surgery was one what?
I had a complete hysterectomy at the age of 29.
But before you moved here, I'm trying to understand, were you having any health issues?
I never was sick a day in my life until I moved out here.
Then they started putting these signs up saying, don't let your children play in the dirt. Don't let them play outside. When they come in, make them wash, take the shoes off. The reason why we believe this is a public health crisis is EPA has acted in such an aggressive manner. East Chicago has moved from remediation to demolition and disposition.
This is the U.S. lead smeltering site. So I'm going to see if we can just park across the street. It's about a 24-acre site. U.S. Smelter and Lead was here from about the 1920s all the way to 1985, whereupon in 1995 they built what's called a CAMU. It's a confined unit to hold in the contaminants on the site. So that's what we're seeing here.
Okay, so this is a mound of dirt to hold in the contaminants.
Yeah, so there's a liner and everything to hold it in. What they determined was that this was a great risk to the environment and also to the neighborhood. So what they needed to do was build this CAMU facility unit.
What year was that?
This was built in 1995.
So what you're saying is that what ought to be at West Calumet is a giant mound like this, and instead they have 1,000 people living there.
Well, what I'm saying is that 21 years ago, 1995, they built this facility because they understood the risks to the community and the environment. At some point while they were building this, they should have been looking over at West Calumet and saying, at least, at least a major there's something wrong, very serious there. There are 3 lead refineries that existed on that plot of land.
Tree cancer, huh?
So explain this to me.
If you look at how people get cancer, it's cells that grow uncontrollably, but they then move around. When you have trees, when they get cancer, it grows in the same way, but it's safer for trees because it can't really move anywhere. So it just clumps up in all these. I've never seen a tree with this much. I mean, just look at it. For like kids, I was trained in lead remediation, and we were always told that if you take a penny, take the eye of Lincoln, that much lead, that can cause permanent damage in an infant. It gets less impactful as someone gets older, but basically all it does is the lead confuses the body when it's building the brain and other neural structures, and basically causes dead-end areas that usually have free-flowing activity. Calcium should be there, or whatever else it may be. But lead replaces it, and when lead replaces it, it can cause horrible neurological diseases. And so if you have people living in an area that has lead, they're not going to be at the same capacity because of the debilitative factors that lead causes.
In English, this tree got all sorts of cancer because it's on top of a lead factory underneath. So if a tree looks like this and kids are playing over there on the same grass, over the same lead, who the hell knows?
This is probably something I worked on. I would find.
The families that's been living here for a while, kids and the adults themselves are beginning various illnesses. And some of them I've talked to that went to the hospital, local doctors, and the doctors didn't seem to know what the problem was.
When they ripped up the tub, I was looking to see if there was a floor under there. There's nothing under the bathtub. It's just like dirt. So I was wondering if they're treating the dirt outside and saying it is contaminated. I'm wondering if my house is contaminated by the lead also.
Has your kids been tested for lead recently?
I just recently tested. All of us have been tested, except for my 25-year-old. He doesn't live with me, but he's going to his own personal doctor to be tested because at this point I don't trust what they're doing.
And what were the levels?
We haven't got the results back yet. They told me it would take 3 weeks.
I think that we have to use this moment to mobilize and organize these communities, educate them, and equip them. How do you fight environmental injustice? How do you fight for your human rights? How do you fight for your civil rights? While people are making decisions for you, you need to make some decisions for yourself.